Jesus, that you help us think, you help us drive, you help us go forward. Give us the wisdom that we need, the knowledge, the understanding. Help us, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Carolyn, make sure we let it know that all councils here except Fred Carroll. Everyone, please face the American flag. Salute the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sign for the Texas flag.
I the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay, Jennifer. What's the time? All right. Well, we still got a minute.
All right. We're ahead of the game.
I don't want anybody to criticize us. Mary, how are you?
Tired, but okay.
Okay.
And I still don't have 3 o'clock yet.
Well, I'm waiting just a minute to get to 3 o'clock. I'm looking at that clock up there, but that would be long. Carolyn, it's 2:59. We got 30 seconds or so. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we're fine. Public comment.
It's 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Okay. Open the meeting for public comments. Mary, you have any comments, or Jennifer?
The only thing that I
Anyone
have is
else?
that September is National Library Card Month, so
That we don't even require a card now, do we? Or-
we require you to have a card. We just
Oh,
don't
no,
require
we
you to
pay.
pay for it.
Okay, that's good.
Unless you lose it, then we'll charge you $2.
Have you thrown anybody in jail today?
No, sir. Not to.
Go out there and do it right quick and come back. Okay, I declare the public comments section to be over. Item 4 is discussion of possible action regarding the lighting and the meter pole on the city lot and authorizing interim city manager.
I have no dollars.
Okay.
We don't.
Well, I'm giving you a new.
Anyway, I just want to discuss this propaganda, and matter of fact, again, last night at EDC, it was brought up about putting lights, benches, and things like that. We just, if we turn this into a park, it'll always be earmarked as a park. So, really, we just want permission to allow EDC to move forward with, putting things out there and utilize it for the Christmas and keep on using it as,
Now, that's not necessarily to hook up the trucks or anything.
no,
but
sir,
that's just
no, sir.
really-
So we have a meter so we can put our Christmas lights. Because if we start using it for food trucks and things like that, or anybody, then we, the city, we need to start talking about
Well,
charging, and it comes into a different, too, it comes into insurance, several things. But,
Are we not gonna do the food trucks anymore, is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
yes, oh, yes, ma'am, but not putting the
They're, I think they all have
electricity.
their
They
generators.
do, yeah, they're.
Yeah.
Now, I asked Robert, if we wanted to do that, we just have to put different meters out, and they'd have to be metered, and they'd have to pay for it, not the city.
But I think they're self-contained, so that's good, but just not have it be a park, is that what you're saying, Ron?
Well, no, still, the food truck can still go over there, but let's don't turn, you're right, don't
Right.
turn
Not call it a park.
Okay.
Don't call it into the park,
That's fine,
just a site, that way it leaves that property open, unless we want to see, like earmark it from now on for a park, because, Ms. Powers said, once you do that, that's what it'll be.
I know,
They
yeah.
want to build or do something different.
Well, I think we need to do some things over there too, but I don't think it's a situation where we just say, hey, let's go over there to put artificial grass or something over the whole thing, or at least not right now.
Well, and two, what I do, I mean, I like for, the Christmas committee, because there's one, we've been talking about things. And Mr. McWater's also talked about helping getting some mulch donated. Well, I'll help get rock donated. I mean, but just allow us to think, but put a meter, definitely get a meter. I know Cody had got a price for getting a meter put, it was kind of expensive, but I think we can put our own meter, the city can set a meter, have energy put it in. We can do that. Then lighting, because I know Mr. Lambert's been getting prices on lighting, but there's some other things I think we'll have to look at and how to do it. Anyway, just have permission, allow EDC to move forward and say, y'all do what you want.
Council, what's y'all
Sounds good.
pleasure? Do we want to let Robert go ahead?
Yes, I'll make a motion to that effect, that we give him
Ms.
authority to
Clay, you
move forward
want to
on
have
this.
a comment?
Oh, I'm sorry, did you want to say something?
Mayor,
Well, yes, I was, the motion really didn't affect that, but, the attorney had mentioned, or recommended that we didn't say park for whatever reason. I don't know if that's, I don't know what was the reason for that. But, so are we gonna call it like a recreation ground or a city garden or, and that's why I was asking, do we have to have any type of agreement or anything before we start doing things? Because we have some people in place already ready to start doing things. So is it that we just only need the permission from the council to just move forward without even saying what it's going to be?
What if we call it, city event corner?
That's
I
good.
mean, it's not
Cleveland Corner.
Cleveland corner.
Well, city court, you know,
Yeah, so just, I mean,
city
we
court, something real simple, city court.
name it something.
Yeah, not just say it's a park, per se,
Right.
because that hems you in on a lot of what you can do or have to do there,
So we could just say it's a city court, and that way we can just go ahead and move forward.
Okay. Like that too.
You,
I make a
Carolyn
motion.
made the
We
motion,
need a
Marilyn,
second.
you're seconding it,
I'll
Carolyn?
second, yes, sir.
Any other discussion by council? All those in favor of letting Robert, get that poll put up, raise your right hand. Again, same sign.
Thank y'all.
And I'm assuming this will be a joint, EDC and city project.
Yes,
Okay, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed 2022 to 2023 city budget. Where'd Leslie go?
She ran to the restroom. She'll be right
Oh,
back.
my God, she's already down to, but it's not gonna be that bad.
You're on. Yeah, you're on.
your turn.
You're up, Leslie.
Yeah, if we, yeah, I put it on the.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can you do the EDC first?
The one from last night?
Yeah.
Are we doing the EDC?
Yes, I just have to present it. I know some of, Miss Carolyn, Marilyn, and, Fred were here last night, and so it's just the same, but I have to do it for
Okay,
the rest of the council members and you, Mayor. Okay?
thank you,
So we're gonna start with fiscal year 2021 year-end actual, total revenues at 750,119, total expenses at 659,547, with revenues over expenses of 90,572. Fiscal year 2022 year-end projected, we are projecting total revenues to end at 768,425, and total expenses at 608,24. With revenues over expenditures, 167,601. And that cash balance ending at 1.7, almost 1.8. Reserve requirement, the 25% is the 150,206, and then the annual debt coverage for the bond, 187,544, with excess cash of 1.4 million. Moving on to the fiscal year 2023 proposed budget, we're proposing that total revenues at 813,523. Total expenses at the same with a balanced budget, and then ending cash balance at 1,756,668. Reserve requirement is a 25% at 203,381. Annual debt coverage of 194,320, and then excess in cash of 1,358,967. The next slide goes more into detail. As you can see, EDC's main source of income is sales tax, and I am projecting to end on fiscal year 2022 year-end projected to end total revenues at 768,425. And then for the proposed budget, I am projecting to end total revenues at 813,523. The next slide is the expenses. Total operating expenses for fiscal year 2022 year-end projected 361,324, and then financial programs 239,500, ending total expenses at 608,24, with revenues over expenditures by 167,601. And then I am proposing proposed budget for operating expenses at 384,12, and then financing programs at 429,511, with total expenses at 813,523. And this is projections that we're going to use that 355,511 that you see there for capital outlay for programs or projects that EDC is wanting to use funds for.
So that money's already designated?
Yes.
Okay.
The next slide is, I propose a balanced budget, and there is the 5% increase for cost of living due to inflation. Council also approved to observe the 9% health insurance increase. And then the capital outlay that I was just mentioning for 355,511, which will be allocated for various projects depending on what EDC decides to fund, but that's the money they have allocated for projects. And then an allocation of 130 will be carried over from fiscal year 2022 to finish gateway signs in downtown Muro. We know that we're not going to finish the project by September 30th, so it's going to have to be a carryover for next year. The next slide is a 5-year, multi-year forecast projection. And if you see the gray area is the amount of money that is projected for projects. As the years go by, that amount increases, and that amount is for projects. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Council?
No.
I think we're good, let's go.
Decisions. Okay, so this slide right here is what, last meeting we were discussing and council approved, and so, I just wanted for you all to look at how much money is, coming out of fund balance, and that's $844,251. If you move on to the next slide, and we're just strictly looking at the fiscal year 2023 proposed budget, you see that revenues over expenditures are the $844,251. We're digging into that's what we're digging into fund balance. The reserve, we have to reserve $2,633,464, and we still have excess in cash of $2,466,218. The next slide is gonna show you, after conversations with a few council members and budget meeting discussions, these are the projects that y'all agreed to fund. Cut it almost 300,000 down, so it's only digging into fund balance 561,780. And then if you go to the next slide, that's what we're revenues under expenditures 561,780, with reserve requirement of 25% of 2.5, almost 2.6. And then we still have excess in cash of 2.8. Do y'all have any questions on that?
So are you recommending that we cut more? Is that what you're saying?
From the first one?
Yes, but I mean off of the second one.
No, I think you said.
No, I think we're in a good spot now.
Okay. Because that's more than a year projected as far as having.
Yes, that is projected, but every year we do use fund balance because, we don't want to hold a lot of cash either. We
Right.
want to do projects, we want to fund things that are critical and they need to get funded. We just don't want to have all that money there and then we're hurting later on and we're going to have to fund 5 police officers at once, so we just want to be conservative in the funding.
Our reserves are still very,
Yeah.
very good.
Very
Right.
good.
Very.
Yeah.
Right.
They did.
Well, I appreciate the conservativeness. That's
Yes.
basically what I'm like.
Okay, so nobody has any questions on that? This will be the this is the final approval, like I have to get this in the proposed budget so it can get adopted September 13th.
That's second to the fact that we're gonna lower the
Yes.
points on, so it's everything we talked about.
Yeah, it's everything we talked about. I already did the lowering of the 4 cents and everything, but I just wanted to bring that to attention. Because tomorrow I'll start working on updating the proposed budget, updating the numbers and making it, to where it's gonna reflect being revenues under expenditures by 561,780. And we're still able to fund.
And I told Leslie, if our sales tax continues to be
Yes,
positive, and we can always amend the budget
Oh, absolutely.
and come in and take some of the projects that if we see we got
Yes.
the money. Yeah. Leslie, you got it broken down, what it would actually be for the interest and what we have to pay, how it is percentage wise on that, the tax rate? I mean, I know we, like last year, 70, what's our actual rate's gonna be though to retire? I know we have to put so much into the debt service.
yes, sir, and it's gonna be, yes, that's gonna be, I can tell you now. Because we have to set aside funds for, to pay our bonds. So, based on our discussion, it's gonna be lower 4 cents, and then debt service, that rate is 0.24790, and then for the maintenance and operation is 0.46710.
Say it again, listen to that.
Or the maintenance and operation is 0.46710.
Okay.
And that, if you add them up, it's the 0.71500.
Say it again, listen.
It'll be the
Total, the 7,
0.71500.
council have any questions?
I just want to ask a question. This is from the last meeting, the last workshop,
Yes, ma'am.
and the general fund list from now. The last one, so what you did was basically just sort of pick the items that we discussed, and
Yes, and I had, yes, so that's what I did. Whenever y'all were discussing, I was writing notes on the things that y'all wanted approved. I put that together, and that's where you said that the one that you were digging into the fund balance of 844,251. Then I had conversations with the mayor, with interim city manager, council members, and they said to condense some of that, and that's what I did.
okay, so, and that's why I was asking, because I noticed the 30,000, from 30,000 to 5,000.
Right.
So, can you tell me why was that? What was the
Um,
reason for lowering it that low? I need to know.
Yes, ma'am. So as you can see, I lowered the computer equipment from 15,000 to 10,000. And then, we also, instead of funding 3 full-time firefighters, we only funding 1. They also, the tower to assist department and surrounding departments, that was taken out. And the cardiac monitors.
Well, and the pumper truck was taken out.
And, yeah,
Which we're
but,
buying a ladder truck this, getting this year, so we'll probably have the pumper truck coming up, but
yes, we have a lot of projects coming
yes.
up.
Okay, and I understand condensing and sort of putting funds where it's needed, but just the very top one, that museum, why was it 30,000 to 5,000?
Okay, so I had already budgeted 5,000 there, and so this is additional 5, so it really be 10,000. And I know that, they were discussing yesterday, and that's why I guess Mr. Fred Terrell came up here and talked that if EDC can help with that.
Right.
But we did set aside, this is the 5 plus another 5, that's 10, that we set aside for the historical museum facility.
Okay, and that's for the maintenance of the building.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we know it needs a roof. I don't know what the roof will cost. but,
Yeah, we don't know.
It can be,
Yeah, and this is just us thinking that it's gonna cost us this amount, but we don't know until they're actually going there and assess the building and say, hey, come back and say it's gonna be more, or it's always more.
I have a question with the firefighters.
Yes.
Is there a way, like, with only one, because I remember the meeting before, you were saying that we needed firefighters, and now we're only funding 1 full-time.
well, and 2, Desiree, see, we're on a program that we're having, how many are we funding right now? 7?
9.
Okay, through that, probably a year and a half from now, we're gonna have to pay all those. That's gonna come on us, we're getting sort of a free ride right now unless we can get that grant again. So I don't see how we can afford to even go, I don't even know about the 1 right now, till we actually have to fund the 7 that we haven't funded yet. I don't know, how much is that?
The grant is 2.3, correct?
Yes. Grant's 2.3 over 3 years, so it's $700 and something thousand a year.
And that's a year and a half.
We got about a year and a half left.
Okay. that we're gonna have to.
Yes.
And we may can get that again, right, Sean? Do you
So,
know?
and I wanted to clarify, we're talking about if council will allow us to put it into it again, but if we put in for it again, those are for additional employees.
More,
The ones we have now,
we'll
we
take.
still have to absorb that cost.
Yeah, so in 3 years, you're gonna have to pay 18 full-timers.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can.
Mayor, do we have a say-so? This list was changed from what was discussed last time,
Right.
and I understand council talked with finance about it. Do we have a say-so in this list? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, one firefighter is not gonna do me any good whatsoever. I'm gonna have one shift with one extra person, and 2 shifts without an extra person. But the cardiac monitors, I have to have by state medical law, or I can no longer have a first responder organization.
Right.
So if we can continue to have the monitors, which is close to the 70 that was set aside for one firefighter, then I'm gonna have to give up the one person and have cardiac monitors provide the level of service that we're providing now.
Is there a number of cardiac monitors that we have to have, or is it?
We have 2, and we're trying to replace the 2 that we have, because they're physically outlawed.
But is there a state law mandate that says we have to have 1, 2, 3, 4?
So we made 2 because if one goes down, we have one to continue service while that one's being fixed. We can't have less
Where
than
does it
2.
stay, Sean?
Sir,
Where does that actually physically stay? That absence,
it's on, it's,
on
no,
the
we don't
truck?
have ambulances. They're on the fire truck.
Okay.
So right now, we're using the excursion truck, whatever, as a first responder vehicle, because we're trying to save wear and tear on the big vehicles.
Yeah.
And then, but if that one's down, then it goes on one of the bumpers and it responds from there. The new ladder truck has a cabinet being placed in it just for medical equipment on the ladder truck, should it be needed.
Okay, so can we do that? Can we do the monitors instead of the firefighter?
Yes, if that's what, yeah, I can do that. I can deduct the full-time firefighter and then replace it with the monitors.
That's what we're gonna have to do.
And Sean, we may be able to do that and fund the firemen too, or 2 firemen, but not in what we've got exactly right now. But we know ourselves.
And that's not, I just, because this came, the first time I've seen this.
Yeah.
So, because it came up, if we're gonna say that this is the list we're going with, and we're having to decide one or the other,
That's where.
for almost the same amount of money, I can get the monitors that I have to have to provide service, versus one shift having 4 people and the other 2 shifts having 3 people.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
And if I may say, and this is why I was looking at this list, because I know I had an ask to buy that, but it's very important that we hear from the department heads to know exactly what it is they need. We're here just to make the decision, the best decision. But if it's something that they're saying that they actually really need and it is required, we're obligated to do just that.
And I appreciate y'all allowing me to speak, thank you.
You're good, Sean, and Leslie, you're gonna take care of that on this?
Yes.
Desiree, did that answer you?
Thank you.
So any other questions? Okay, so we move on to page 6. The water sewer fund, we talked about this, funding the half of the project of the AMR meter. Lindsay actually has a breakdown. This, here we have, we're digging into our fund balance, 500,000. This is a project that has been ongoing for how many years now, Lindsay?
Long as 3.
At least
3 years. And it just keeps getting more expensive and expensive each year. Unfortunately, the project is like 1.3 million. And I'm not able to fund it all at once. It would have to be like this year and then the next year. Because if you see, I have to have in reserve 1.1, the very bottom. And then right now what I have in excess cash is 734,654. Once again, these are just projections until I actually get actual numbers from the auditors. But I have to go off of this, because that 2,175,303, that is actual numbers from our audit. So this is why, I know that council discussed too, that wanted to go ahead and fund this project. We can only do half right now, and this is actually the only project that we can do right now.
Okay, I think that's the one we need to do. And half is better than none. for
Well,
sure.
and I talked to that guy with Grant Works, and he seems to think now, Leslie, you correct me, he seems to think now, I mean, I know it won't come right, maybe in this
Yeah,
year,
it's,
but maybe next year we'll get some grant money.
Yeah, some grant money, but I mean, this is just setting money aside because the more we wait, the more the meters are gonna be more expensive. And when it started, this project started at, I think, 500,000, correct? Or how much did it?
Meters were at 98, they're already at 120, and that's only holding till December. In December, those meter prices will change.
But this will get the meters, right? What you're talking about, Leslie?
This
Or
includes,
Leslie?
Yes.
everything.
The almost 1.3 will get you everything. And right now, and Lindsay will tell you this more, whenever the guy's having to be pulled from water leaks and and other stuff that they are needing to do because they're having to all read meters. So the ladies can get the bills out on time. And it just makes sense for us to finish this project.
Okay, so the total, if I may speak, so the total cost is the 1.2, that's the total projected cost.
Right.
So the amount that you are saying that you want to set aside, just so that we'll have, is
500,000. And that the reason why is if you see the excess cash we only have 734. So it would put us in the negative on excess cash.
If
We wouldn't
get
even
that-
have, we have a,
That
we
won't
won't have.
happen at one time, though, will it, Leslie? I mean,
No, this is why I'm splitting it between the years, and we're gonna work it out where it overlaps on the years.
This years to 2024, so what?
Sounds good to me.
I'd like to ask a question about the quantity. Is this what we're needing, or is this what we have to finish out this project for the last 3 years? What is the quantity on these numbers?
This was ran in January for the amount of meters we need to switch.
All at once.
So Lindsay, if we put a meter in a new home, it's automatic meter?
Yes. So like Grand Oaks, Pinewood Trails, they won't touch any of those because they're automatically. Any new build is getting a new meter. This is existing homes and businesses,
Does the homes or businesses pay for their own meters?
not when we switch them. If they're building, yes.
but if it's already existing.
Like if any of your meters break, you don't have to pay for a new one, we replace it.
Yeah. But if I go from a residential to a commercial, then I have to pay for the new meter.
Correct.
It's a great benefit to the city.
$1,800.
I'm good.
Does anybody else have any questions about
I'm just
this?
fixing to ask any more questions from council. I mean, we all agreeing on
And basically, that's all I have, so I can put the numbers together and I could finish up the budget. Unless anybody else has questions.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
that
Darryl.
first slide that we showed, saw one officer, I missed something, that's why I wanted to look. I don't see any police cars, is that something?
Oh, that's already budgeted.
It's already budgeted?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Darryl, sit down.
Don't panic, That's-
Nobody say anything else.
Okay. I'm good, Mayor, thank
We
you.
may have to buy some more cars. Leslie,
So
are
from
you
this list, the only change I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop the full timer and then get Sean the cardiac monitors. Just wanted to confirmation.
Now, did we get you most everything else that you need?
Yes, ma'am, the six are on there and the SCBA and stuff that we need.
Anybody else have any questions? Leslie, you good? So we're good? We just need to vote on this budget, right?
Yeah, I need to work on this budget.
Need to what?
I said I just need to work on the budget now.
All right.
In the motion, whoever, we need to make sure that we change that, well, we're just putting 70,000 to the monitors and taking the one off, is that?
Yeah, and it's actually gonna be 90,
Okay.
90, because, it was 90 for the cardiac monitors and the full timer is 70, so we're gonna have to, so that's 561 is gonna go up 20.
Okay.
So we need a motion to approve the changes, or?
Well, to approve the budget, period,
approve
but
the
make
budget.
that as a change in, when you're making a motion, or if you do, Carolyn, that it's showing that we're buying the monitors and taking the one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is, I'm sorry, I just
Go
want to
ahead.
be clear. This is not approving the budget, this is just.
No, this is just so we can put it together, and then it's gonna get approved September 13th, but
Right.
pretty much whenever we put it in front of your,
Yeah,
like-
okay, I just want to make sure.
yeah, it'll be approved.
Okay, I want to make a motion that we approve the budget with the correction to remove the full-time firefighter and add the two heart monitors. Do you need the amounts?
Just,
Not for motion.
no.
I second that.
Okay. Carolyn made the motion, Eddie seconded. Any other discussion by council? All those in favor, raise their right hand. Against, the same sign. Okay. Item 6, discussion and possible action on facility fees, the in-kind request from Leadership East Texas. Ashley, I'm assuming that's going to be you.
It is, but I sent Robert, did you get my email? Leadership East
Thank you,
Texas
ma'am.
has,
Go, yeah.
Good job.
I just sent Robert a message. Leadership East Texas right before this meeting has decided not to use our facility.
Okay.
They will be, the school has given them an in-kind to use their training facility.
Do we still need to go through this, so?
No, we do not. Well, we can because, did we just want to keep the amenities fees? They do have to pay that separately? Is that the way that we want to
Are
keep
you
it?
putting that at what,
So-
1.4, or are you keeping that at the regular prices? I mean, I know we're not discussing it now tonight, but
The last council meeting where we approved the non-profit policy rate, it did include that discounted rate, but it did not include the amenities fees. So from council going forward, do we want to include those amenity fees at a discounted rate? Or do we want to have?
well, would that have made a difference with Carson and them?
Yes, a big difference. And I did include that within the new price. Should have been 2 invoices that were included. And so they would have jumped from paying, originally it was $262.50. Adding those amenities that he requested would have made it $1,037.50.
Well, I think Ashley's asking, that's what you're saying, if somebody else comes up with a nonprofit, do we wanna be a fourth of all of it? Or do we wanna keep the amenities?
Correct, and each one is gonna be different because not all of them need projector, not all of them need a podium with mic. So they are gonna be different, so each amenities fee would have to be looked at. I can go back to the drawing board on that, but do we wanna do it at a 5% discount, a 10% discount?
Eddie, what do you think? You brought,
Well, since the building was cut to 1/4 for a 501c3, and I'm assuming that we could cut each one of these amenities to 1/4, 25%.
25%. Okay.
Yeah. Leslie came to me, and she brought this to me, and she wanted to know, would I approve that? And I told her that it needed to come before y'all, because I know we did the building, not the amenities, and it, I thought it should come to y'all to make that approval, instead of just sign off on it.
Well, yeah,
was that the
we
breakdown
weren't gonna
on
make
that?
a
When you
decision.
talked to Jim and them, was that?
So originally in Jim's, I guess like in his letter, he only requested the projector use. And so that did not include the kitchen and other things like that. So, that's why we wanted to bring it before council to ask, are we doing it for the amenities too?
I would think so.
Or is that, okay,
I'm personally, I'm not trying to tell the council,
No.
but I feel like that's probably fair.
okay.
Is that fair to
This-
set it at a price, for us to set the price like that, or do you still need to do it individually?
No, I mean, we can still do a set price, like for the kitchen, it's a $200 rental fee, so we can do a 25% for that. The podium and mic is $50, we can do, the percentage from that. So I can break it down and I can bring it back before the next council meeting and just present to you what the amenities fees would be for those nonprofits.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
So I'm assuming we don't have to do anything on 6, unless we're gonna make that a policy.
Come back.
I think it'd have to be put back on, yeah.
Come back and next council meeting.
Well, I hate that we don't have Leadership Texas, but maybe the school's got more money than we got, I don't know.
We made him a pretty good deal, I thought. But then that's when you came back for the extras, is that right?
The extras, as far as like the kitchen
Yeah.
and things like that, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We did not include that in our last
Right.
approval. It was
Okay.
only for the rental rates.
So,
But I think we can do it from now on. I mean, I don't know that would make any difference actually now.
It will,
but-
because it'll be a set price, so then therefore,
Do
this
you know
wouldn't really be
exactly?
coming before council. This is what the rates would be, and this is the policy that we would give them.
Good deal.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think there's any other discussion on that. Go to item 7, is a closed executive session under Texas Local Government Code 551-074. Personnel matters to deliberate the applications for appointment of the city manager. Hopefully this will be a short Have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Okay. Have a motion, everybody ready, let's adjourn.